Have you ever noticed something strange about yourself? You finally reach stability, a steady job, a calm relationship, a predictable routine, and instead of feeling relieved, you feel restless, not unhappy, not broken, just trapped in something that's technically good, like living in a beautiful house with no windows, and then your mind turns on you. Why can't I just be grateful? Why does peace feel boring? Why do I always want more? If this sounds familiar, I want you to know something immediately. You're not broken, you're not ungrateful, and you're not afraid of stability. You're afraid of losing yourself inside it. And that's not a flaw. That's a nervous system pattern. Today, we're talking about the psychology of people who want safety without feeling stuck, the deep tension between autonomy and belonging, and why your restlessness isn't rebellion, it's regulation. Let's start with a truth most people never hear. Humans don't just need safety. We also need space. Space to choose, to explore, to grow, to change. And for some people, especially emotionally intense, sensitive, deep-thinking minds, stability without movement doesn't feel peaceful. It feels compressing, like being emotionally shrink-wrapped. So instead of calming down when life becomes predictable, your nervous system tightens. Not because safety is bad, but because stagnation feels dangerous to your identity. Here's the reframe. You're not running from safety, you're running from stagnation, and those are not the same thing. Psychologically, your brain is wired around two core needs: belonging, connection, predictability, attachment; autonomy, freedom, agency, self-direction. Most people lean more toward one, but some people feel both very strongly at the same time, which means stability can feel comforting and claustrophobic. Connection can feel nourishing and constricting. Routine can feel grounding and suffocating. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your nervous system is built for both safety and expansion. Think of it like breathing. Inhale, grounding. Exhale, movement. If you only inhale, you suffocate. If you only exhale, you collapse. Health is rhythm, but many lives are designed for permanent inhale. Same routine, same role, same expectations, same identity. So your nervous system does the only thing it knows how to do. It creates restlessness, not to sabotage your life, but to restore movement. That's why calm sometimes makes you anxious. Why peace feels boring. Why predictability feels heavy. Why you fantasize about escape when nothing is wrong. Your body isn't saying, "I hate safety." It's saying, "I need space." And here's something subtle but powerful. Some people don't feel unsafe in chaos. They feel unsafe in stillness. Because stillness feels like being trapped with yourself, with thoughts, with emotions, with unmet needs. Movement becomes regulation. Change becomes oxygen. Not because you love instability, but because your nervous system equates motion with aliveness. And here's another layer most people never consider. When your life finally slows down, your mind gets louder. Distractions disappear. Silence expands. Old feelings surface. And for many people, stillness doesn't feel peaceful. It feels exposing. So your nervous system looks for noise, tasks, goals, drama, movement. Not to avoid life, but to avoid feeling uncontained inside yourself. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system hasn't learned how to feel safe and quiet yet. Now here's where things get emotionally complex. For many people, this tension didn't start in adulthood. It started early. If you grew up in environments where love required adaptation, being easy, quiet, useful, or agreeable, your nervous system learned something dangerous. Belonging equals shrinking. Safety equals self-abandonment. So later in life, even healthy stability can activate discomfort. Not because the situation is wrong, but because your body remembers what stability once cost. So your nervous system reaches for distance, movement, change. Not because you fear commitment, but because you fear disappearing. That's not avoidance, that's self-protection. And here's something important. You might actually crave deep connection, intimacy, emotional closeness, being truly seen, but your nervous system panics once you get it. Not because you don't want love, but because closeness once meant losing autonomy. So your system oscillates. Come close, pull away, want safety, want escape. This push-pull isn't confusion, it's unresolved wiring. But here's the problem. Some people respond to this by constantly blowing up their lives, quitting jobs, ending relationships, starting over, which feels freeing, temporarily. But long-term, it teaches your nervous system that the only way to feel alive is to escape. Other people go the opposite direction. They stay, suppress, numb. Tell themselves this is fine, but slowly lose energy, creativity, desire. They become stable, but hollow. Neither extreme works, not chaos, not emotional imprisonment. What actually works is learning how to create safety without stagnation, belonging without self-erasure, structure without suffocation. And this starts by designing stability around your nervous system, not around social templates of success. Let's get practical. First shift. Stop asking what's wrong with my life. Start asking, where do I feel compressed? Not wrong, not broken. Compressed. Is it your schedule? Your job role, your environment, your relationships, your identity, your expectations? Restlessness is often your nervous system saying, something here feels too small for who I'm becoming. That's not dysfunction. That's growth signal. Second shift. Create micro-freedom inside macro-stability. Instead of blowing up your life, add movement where you feel tight. Change how you work instead of quitting your job. Add creativity instead of abandoning responsibility. Take solo trips instead of burning bridges. Restructure your routine instead of escaping your life. Your nervous system doesn't usually need escape. It needs agency. Signals of choice, of expansion, of breath. Third shift. Build dynamic stability instead of static stability. Static stability looks like same routines, same goals, same roles, same identity. Dynamic stability looks like stable values, evolving goals, stable relationships, growing identities, stable income, flexible paths, stable home base, periodic novelty, think of a tree. Roots stay grounded. Branches keep growing. No roots collapse. No branches suffocate. You don't need to choose between safety and freedom. You need both in rhythm. Fourth shift. Redefine commitment. You're not afraid of commitment. You're afraid of commitment to lives that don't allow growth. So instead of committing to outcomes, titles, timelines, roles, commit to values. Growth, curiosity, autonomy, depth, emotional truth. Then let the structures change while your values stay stable. That creates continuity without confinement. Fifth shift. Stop pathologizing your restlessness. Your restlessness is often intelligence. It's pattern detection. It's your nervous system noticing stagnation before burnout hits. Some people crash. You feel discomfort early. That's not weakness. That's sensitivity. That's signal. Now, let's talk about one important caveat. Not all restlessness is autonomy-related. Sometimes it's anxiety, burnout, trauma, depression, ADHD, unresolved grief. So if your restlessness is constant, overwhelming, or interfering with daily life, this isn't self-help territory. This is nervous system support territory. Therapy, somatic work, medical care when needed. There's no badge for suffering alone. But for many people watching this, the issue isn't pathology. It's misalignment. You're living in structures that technically work, but psychologically shrink you. And that creates a quiet kind of distress that looks like boredom, restlessness, numbness, or constant craving for change. But here's the most important reframe of this entire video. You don't struggle with stability. You struggle with stagnation. You don't struggle with belonging. You struggle with disappearing inside it. You don't struggle with safety. You struggle with containment. And none of those are character flaws. They're nervous system signals. Signals asking for expansion, not destruction. Movement, not escape. Spaciousness, not chaos. So the next time you feel restless in a stable life, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, what feels tight right now? What part of me isn't breathing? What kind of freedom would feel nourishing instead of destabilizing? What kind of safety would feel spacious instead of suffocating? That's wisdom, not dysfunction. And here's what I want you to leave with. You don't need to choose between safety and freedom. You need to build safety that includes freedom. You don't need to escape stability. You need to redesign it. You don't need to run. You need room. Room to breathe. Room to grow. Room to evolve. Room to be complex. Room to be alive. And you're allowed to want that. You're allowed to design that. You're allowed to prioritize nervous system alignment over social expectations. That's not selfish. That's sustainable. If this video resonated, I created a short guide called Safe Without Feeling Stuck, a nervous system reset workbook. It includes simple exercises to map your autonomy needs, redesign stability, and stop oscillating between escape and stagnation. Before you go, try this today. Just notice one place in your life that feels tight. Not wrong, just tight. And ask yourself, what would make this feel more spacious? Then try that, even in a small way. Because your nervous system doesn't need a new life. It needs room inside this one. And that's where real peace actually starts.